Hi everyone, in this video we are going to take a bunch of new makeup from Target. Now I think that this is new for Target to launch their beauty line. Let me know in the comment section below if Target Beauty has been around for a long time. I know definitely the specific items that I purchased are new. They just recently launched on the Target website, but did they have a brand with other stuff in it, makeup stuff in it before recently? I don't know. So we did a face that has a lot of eye products, blush, and highlighting products. The brand doesn't yet, or Target doesn't yet have things like foundation, concealers, contouring. They don't even have lip products. I didn't see any of them yet. Hopefully they will be coming out with those over time. And they are available online, which is another thing that I want to remind you of. Make sure you check the description box below to see where you can purchase these online. I purchased most of these things online. A couple of things I actually ordered for pickup in the store. And what was interesting is when you do that, they prepare your order and you pick it up at guest services. So I didn't actually have to go into the makeup aisles to find these. But what I found interesting was the customer service people brought me the items. The rainbow highlighter that you'll see was actually broken. So a lady went and got a replacement one for me that wasn't broken. So I didn't actually go to see where the stand is. And the reason I mention is because after I picked up my order, I went shopping and I thought, oh, I'll just go down the makeup aisle to see if there's anything else from other brands that's interesting or intriguing. Also, I was doing research for my holiday gift giving guide for items that are makeup or makeup adjacent for under $25. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go see it. I'll link in the upper right hand corner. So anyway, I was going through the aisles and I actually did not see where the Target makeup items were. I didn't see it on a special display at the end of the aisle. I didn't see it throughout the aisles with all the other makeup brands like Maybelline and Revlon. So I don't actually know where these were displayed. I didn't see them when checking out. I do know that the customer service lady mentioned something about it being in a special place, but I didn't see that. So just a heads up, it may be a little bit hard to find in stores, but they are all available online for you to purchase. Again, link to where you can find them will be in the description box below, and a link to Ebates so that if you do make a purchase online, you can get some cash back. The other thing I want you to know is that for everything you see in here, I will also be inserting photos of me doing live swatches so that you can see how every single one of the shades and items swatches. So make sure you wait until the end of the video to see those. All right, with all that said, remember to subscribe to the channel and let's get applying and swatching Target's new makeup products. So let's start by doing an eye look. I do have foundation and under eye concealer on and a little bit of brow product. And in terms of the eyes, you have the most number of choices. We have this palette called the I Adore You eyeshadow palette. It retails for $5. It comes in a heavy cardboard palette that closes magnetically and does not have a mirror inside, but it does have a full 12 eyeshadow shades. Pretty neutral colors, both shimmer and matte finishes. It doesn't feel the most high quality in terms of the packaging. I would put it on par with something like e.l.f. in terms of what it feels like, maybe even a step down from e.l.f. since e.l.f. now has like $10, $16 type of palettes. Then you have the eyeshadows that come in tin containers like this. So this one, they both retail for $8. This one is the All Eyes on Me 6-piece mono eyeshadow bundle. And inside you get a full 6 individually panned eyeshadows. And I will say before I forget, on all of these packages, they all come with a clear sheet that is attached by stickers around the borders that are a little bit annoying to take off. So just so you know, so on this, there's sort of this paper or cardboard cover that is on top of the eyeshadows. All right, so there you have the pans inside that you have to pop out. Again, the packaging is not the most accessible or easy to work with. All right, let's do it like that. Okay, and you may think, oh, these are like thick weld eyeshadows. They're pretty thin saucer eyeshadows, and they come in plastic pots like this. They don't even snap shut, but they come in individual pans, which is kind of cute, and they have a variety of different embossed designs. Some of them have a single big star, and then some of them have an array of small stars. So let's see if they are individually named. I don't think they even have their own separate, oh, they do, but it looks like the shade names are on the back of the tin. I don't see the name of the shades on the actual pan. So there's the shade Candlelit. The shade is called At First Sight, Heart of Gold, Daydream, Double Date, and Little Black Dress. And then we have this one, which is called the Mermaid Squad, mermaid inspired eyeshadow, 6-piece, also $8. And these are more colorful shades here. Still have to do the same removing of the plastic and paper. Okay, and those are the 6 shades that you get, and you have this holographic reflective pan or compact also. All right, this shade is called Sandy Kisses, Pink Bikini, Sunset, Tidal Wave, Beach Please, and the cap to this just fell off. So, you know, it is not the most high quality packaging, and good vibes. Lastly, we have this eyeshadow palette, continuing on the mermaid theme. This retails for $12. It is called the I'd Rather Be a Mermaid Magical Eyeshadow Palette. And again, you have the mostly pink and green duochromed holographic soft rubbery outside. Inside, you get, again, a palette, no mirror. You get 14 total shades. Okay, so those are the shadows up close. And again, the names of the shades are on the back of the palette, and the same with the original palette that I showed you, the names are on the back. So I can only use so many shades on my small lid space to get an eye look, but I will try to pick at least one shade from each of these options that we have. And for the rest of the shades, I will definitely interlace eyeshadow swatches for you so you can see how they swatch and look on the skin. So let's start out by just blanking out a canvas and laying down a base to blend the other eyeshadows. So from the Mermaid 6-piece set, let's take this matte cream looking shade. What was that called? Sandy Kisses. I've already applied eyeshadow primer. I'm taking a big, kind of densely packed fluffy brush to apply this all over the lid area as a matte shade that's close to my skin tone. Again, as a base to blank out a canvas and to allow the other shades hopefully to have a smooth blend. And then from the All Eyes on Me set, let's take this medium deep. Actually, let's start with this more peachy but matte shade in the larger crease area, and then more narrowly in the smaller crease or thinner crease area we'll apply this shade. Those shades are At First Sight and Daydream. So I'm taking a fluffy brush. This is the Sigma E35. Going in with that first matte shade. Blend it through the crease. Don't see much color here. Not that I intended for this to be super noticeable, but do you see anything? I know I'm picking up product on my brush. I'm beginning to see a little bit of color now. It's taking a good amount of product. Okay, let's try the deeper shade. These are quite powdery. Alright, there's better color there. Maybe it was more of the shade. These powders seem to make my eyes look more wrinkly. It's not really smooth looking on the skin. Since I'm wearing a green shirt, let's do a green eyeshadow look. Maybe green and gold. From the Mermaid palette, I'm gonna use this shade here, which is called Tan Lines, to go in the center of the eye. And then on the inner and the outer corners, I think I'll go with this really bright aqua green shade, which is called Splish Splash. And then from the Mermaid 6 pan, let's see if we can get this lighter aquamarine shimmering shade along the lower lash line. And what was that shade called? That shade is called Tidal Wave. I have to be pretty careful in my eyes because I don't have a lot of lid space. So I'm gonna take the edge of a 239 brush by MAC. I'm going to go in the inner corner here. Oh, it's applying with pretty good color so far. And on the outer corner, leaving the middle of the eye open, that green shade. If you have a larger lid space and small fingers, you could probably even do these with your finger. I just can't really do that with my lid space. I don't really trust being able to apply them precisely enough. All right, same brush, but wiped off first. We're gonna apply that bright green in the middle. These have really nice color in this palette. I am very satisfied by pigmentation. And then I am actually gonna go in with my finger. Yeah, to dab that on. Put the base down with the brush first to help blend. And then in with my finger to make the shade pop. And actually, let's go in with kind of a brighter gold shade in the inner corner. So I'm going to use this color, which is called Enchanted, to help hopefully make the inner corner pop more than that deep shade. Let's also use this palette to deepen the crease and outer V. So we're going to use this deepest matte brown shade called Naughty. The smaller crease brush to try to really get in to the socket. Going back in with the original fluffy brush that we used. Just trying to blend out these shades. Pigmentation has been decent after the first couple of shades that we applied, but I don't know, just seems a little meh overall. From the Mermaid 6 pan, let's take this deepest shade. It is shimmery, but I want to use it to deepen the outer V. Remember, this shade was called Good Vibes. Pointed pencil brush to just really extend that lash line out here. And it definitely muddied things up, so let's go back in, let's liven up the colors that we had placed originally. Let's see if I can get in there in the inner corner with my pinky finger. Ooh, these feel so soft, the shimmering shades in this palette. And now let's see if we can put Tidal Wave in the lower lash line. Taking another pencil brush that's even more pointy and stiff. Oh, this is a really shimmering color, or glittery, I should say. I'm gonna take this shade and see if we can sand dune. I'm okay with this glitter in the inner corner, but it was more glittery than I thought it would be, so putting it all over the lash line does not look as great. Okay, let's put some eyeliner and mascara on to make this look less crazy. Actually, let's see if this aqua color, we can get it to pop with some mixing medium. Yeah, it pops more. Okay, so there's basically the finished eye look. It looks to me much better with mascara, liner, that kind of thing. I do want to show you the fallout that I've gotten from the application before I wipe everything down and do that kind of thing. So hopefully you can see the powder, both from the glittering and matte shades there. So I have gone ahead and put translucent powder all over, and I have contoured since they don't have any contouring palettes available, at least not at the moment. So the rest of the face will be done by blushes and highlighters. And again, we have a few options. The first one is $5, and this is the Make Me Blush highlighting and blush. Well, it says blush, bronzer, and highlighting palette. This, did I say it retails for $5? It does. It has the same packaging as the first eyeshadow palette we looked at. And as you can see, there is the highlighter, a couple of blushes, and I guess a bronzer, shimmering bronzer. And they all seem to have some level of shimmer or metallic quality to them. And again, each of the different shades has the name on the back there. Then we have two other palettes that are $6. I don't know if they're palettes or not, but there are actually a few of these options. I chose two of the shades, but I think there's 3 or 4 total. First is Over the Rainbow Glow Highlighter Palette. Again, with that squishy rubber packaging, magnetic closure. And as you can see, this is a rainbow highlighter, which was a trend maybe about a year ago. Then we have the Born to Be a Unicorn Glow Highlighter Palette, which is more of a light highlighting set of shades. We'll definitely apply these blushes. I think this more coral shade will work with this look. Don't know how pigmented these are, so I'm going to take a fan brush. Ah. I thought there was going to be a good color at first. I do actually like that it's not super heavily pigmented because the shade is so bright that I want to be able to control and build it up slowly, which this is allowing me to do. And actually we can go crazy. I'm going to apply the lighter pink shade on the other side. If you really wanted a stronger pop of color, you can definitely use a dense brush. I don't really want to do that because this green is bright and I just don't want it to look too clown-like. So I'm going to keep it a little more on the subtle side. But the finish is actually really nice. The shimmer is definitely there, but it's not too glittery or chunky or gaudy looking. Wow, I really like that blush. And then let's take a small fluffy brush and use the highlighting shade in here. Go ahead and use it on this side. Oh yeah, definitely a strong showing. The shimmer particles are, for my personal taste, a little larger than I'd like. It's pretty frosty, but if you want a strong pop of color, then you'll probably really like this. Just gonna take whatever's left on the blush brush to blend that in. And then after cleaning this brush off, let's go in with the Born to Be a Unicorn Glow. Let's see what kind of effect we get with this one. Oh, you see, this is more my style. It's much more finely milled. Just as frosty, but you get more of a frosty sheen as opposed to shimmery glitter. I wouldn't call this exactly glitter. The chunks are not that large, but I just prefer something where you don't see individual shimmer particles. That looks beautiful. I'm gonna take a little bit on the nude side and go in just on the Cupid's bow. Maybe even with my finger. Oh, it feels pillowy soft. And rainbow highlighters, although very fun, are pretty tricky to use for practical purposes. Let's see what we get under the brow bone. Okay, so you can get something pretty normal if you use a light hand and blend all the shades together. But again, we will do swatches of these so you can see more in depth what the colors look like. I'm going to use one of my new favorite lip products. This is by L'Oreal. They have come out with a set of new lip stains just launched. If you haven't seen my swatch video for that, I will link it in the upper right hand corner for you to see the swatches of a ton of the shades. I love the way these feel and apply. Okay, that shade is called I Create. When it comes to the highlighters, I think my favorite is the Born to be a Unicorn Glow. That's the first one that is being swatched. It is hard to tell on the camera, and again, some people say, oh, you need to use a much denser brush. My goal on this channel is always to give you a realistic view. So I apply swatches with a realistic brush that I would actually use in real life, and an angled powder brush is something that I would use. I really love the subtle, smooth glow that this gives. Again, it's very buildable. The Over the Rainbow Glow it's very, very lacking in pigmentation, and I don't know if that was done intentionally to make this a usable, wearable highlighter, because in truth, like I said, it's very hard to use something that has a pink or a green or a blue tone as a realistic or practical highlighter. So on the one hand, the sheerness of the color in this highlighting palette is a plus because you can actually use it all over the face or wherever you want to in a practical way. On the other hand, I think some people will actually want the odd coloration of a rainbow highlighter. So if you're expecting to get that, this is not the palette for you. So when it comes to the blushes, I actually really appreciate that the effect that you get is more subtle and that you need to build it, because when you have really bright shades like this, it's actually a hassle if they are strongly pigmented to avoid looking clownish and to not get too much product applied that you then have to try to buff out, and it just gets to be a mess. So in truth, they are not super pigmented, but because of the color and the tone, I think that's actually a good thing. The powders are pretty silky to the touch, but a little bit also on the stiff side. Then when it comes to the highlighters in the Make Me Blush palette, again, you get a stronger pop of color with that highlighting shade. Still finely milled, still buildable. The shimmering bronzer is actually the most pigmented thing in the palette. It gives you a strong pop of color. The highlighting color is a little more stiff, and the bronzing shade is the softest, most buttery shade in the entire palette. So when it comes to the All Eyes on Me 6-piece bundle, I would say that you have to Keep in mind that it's $8. So they are not the smoothest, silkiest shades, and the pigmentation is kind of medium to on the weaker side for some of the colors also. But at just over $1 for each shade, I can't complain too much. You can definitely pull together a decent look with these. You just have to work a little bit harder. The first shimmering shade is actually quite pretty. And that second peachy matte shade is, I think the reason it didn't show up on my lids is because it's very similar to my skin tone on my lids. The golden shade was, you know, more flaky, it didn't smooth onto the skin as much as I would like. And then you can also see that the two darkest shades are, you know, lacking in pigmentation, although for more beginner makeup users, that can actually be a really nice thing to not have a strong pop of really deep shades. The Mermaid 6-piece set was more patchy. We had a rougher time with it, especially Aqua shade. And oh man, that shimmering, the third shade, that shimmering, flaky, champagne-y silver color, as well as the pink shade. They're just, you know, you're getting a patchier formula. It's not smooth. It's not even in pigmentation, although you can get a much better effect using your fingers. So that is what I would recommend. If you're going to buy any of these, try using the shades and patting them on the lids with the fingers. You'll get a much nicer effect that way, even with the All Eyes on Me set also with some of those shades. And then even when using a couple, not just one, a couple of the shades in the Mermaid set, the lids to the compacts did fall off. You can easily put them back together, but just shows you that the packaging is, you know, not the highest quality. Again, keep in mind $8 for 6 individual eyeshadows. When it comes to the I Adore You 12-piece eyeshadow palette, this is a genuinely good palette, and for $5, my mind is kind of blown. You are getting a whopping 12 shades. They all work decently to well. I would say more on the well side. The texture of the shades is soft, buttery. They apply very nicely. You get good color out of these. Not the ultimate smoothest or silkiest, but absolutely a solid performance on all of the shades. In the swatches, you'll see that 2 of the shades, metallic shades, are a little patchy. The second one and the 7th one, the gold, lighter gold shade, and that maroon metallic shade, but these are 2 shades that work perfectly if you apply them with your finger. Definitely a palette I would recommend for $5, 12 shades. That is an absolutely fantastic value. When it comes to the 14 pan Mermaid eyeshadow palette, I think this one is a little more of a mixed bag. It is $12 for 14 shades, so it's still a very good value. And for the most part, these shadows perform decently and some of them very well. In particular, I was really surprised by that last aqua shade, the way that that swatched. And oh my gosh, my favorite shade of all of them is the shade Sea Glass. You'll see it. It's like this really pale lilac-y duochrome shade, and it swatches beautifully too. Now, the shades in this palette that didn't really apply well with the brush in particular were Hidden Treasure and Pirate Booty. And at the end, you'll see that I go ahead and swatch them with my fingers. They performed much better, but they didn't perform as well as with the other palette when I took those shades that didn't swatch very well with a brush and applied with my fingers. The improvement was really noticeable. With this palette, they were still just a little bit patchy. The other thing you'll notice with this palette is, again, a sheerness or lack of pigmentation in the deeper and brighter shades, especially this really bright high tide blue color, matte blue. You can see in the pan it's very bright, but then swatched, it's the effect is very muted. And same with the matte black shade. Again, I actually prefer the black matte shades to be a little less pigmented, just because it makes them a lot easier to work with. But with something like that bright pool blue color, I would want it to have the same impact that I see in the pan. All right, so there is a look into Target's new range of beauty products. I would say overall, it's obviously a mixed bag, but you have to keep in mind the price point. Every time you think, oh, this is not good quality, yes, it's not the best quality. From the packaging to the actual formulation of most of these products, they are not the best quality. But then again, it's really hard to beat a, let's say, 12 pan palette, eyeshadow palette that's $5. Even e.l.f. would have a hard time competing with that. And speaking of e.l.f., I think that this has a lot of similarities. I think e.l.f. nowadays is trying to, they're no longer the $1 brand out there that you could get super cheap items from. They have definitely increased their prices. Their eyeshadow palettes are now, usually not less than $10, going all the way up to the $20 range. So I think that when it comes to price point, this brand is actually more affordable than most e.l.f. things. Some of the things I think are better quality than you would find in e.l.f. e.l.f. is very hit and miss also. And some of the things you would be better off buying an e.l.f. product. In general, I think that the standout is the I Adore You eyeshadow palette. The other items, I think that this is a really nice brand for someone who is younger, who is new to makeup, who isn't looking for makeup artist quality level type of products, and definitely at a very affordable price point. So for people who are in their teenage years or maybe even a little younger, or if you're just starting out. Or, of course, if you have someone who is a lover of things like mermaids. I am looking forward to seeing what else Target brings out for their makeup line, and especially if they're going to keep things at the very affordable price point that they are now. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of these products and the Target beauty brand in general. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. As always, I'll see you in the next video.